We are live. Welcome in, everybody, to Live with Fast Eddie Fear here at FTN Daily, presented to you, as always, by Superdraft Daily Fantasy. My name is not Fast Eddie Fear. I'm Zach Graham, but alongside my good friend, whose name is on the marquee, Eddie Fear, in the building. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing extremely well. And yourself?
Doing great, man. We were just talking in the green room. Love this slate.
Me too.
One of my favorites for being a 9+ game slate, which we've had a lot of over the last 2 weeks. And I was looking forward today, this morning, Eddie. Some more 13 gamers on our plate over the next 2 weeks. So not so much looking forward to those, but this slate tonight, I think, is really juicy from both a real life basketball, daily fantasy standpoint. And we were also talking from a Top Shot Flash Challenge standpoint. We'll be watching the last field goal of every half with great
the
intensity.
Top Shot Flash Challenge is literally. I don't know. Can we open up? So I frequently speak about how in DFS, one of the most important things, and that absolutely nobody does, is fire drilling some shit. Like news happens at 6:58. What the fuck do you do? There are times doing that efficiently will make you more money than everything else you do for a month. So you should really have a plan if you're trying to, change your lineups and then increase your exposure, get more head-to-heads, get more whatever. And they made the Flash Challenge for tonight, NBA Top Shot, that the people you need are the people who score the last bucket in each half. So if you see that, I don't fucking know, Gordon Hayward scores the last bucket in the Charlotte-Milwaukee game before the half, it would behoove you to, as quickly as possible, purchase as many Gordon Hayward moments as you can. And I don't know how to do that. I'm sure there are bots out there that are very good at this. And me being like, click on a moment. Click on buy. Wait, is not the right way to do it. That's a later conversation, I think. But
sure,
that's a fun moment, and it leads to people actually watching basketball. So the NBA is like, all right, nice, good shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're here at least for the next 56 minutes and change to talk about this slate, and then after lock, we'll mix in some talk with the slate, any late news that breaks, and our general tomfoolery that happens after the slate locks. But Eddie, rankings are up.
Yes.
We haven't spoken in a few hours, though.
Yes, let me review and see where we're at right now. Let me get that going.
Go
ahead, talk.
Of course, on a 9-game slate, we're going to have some 10s up there, and 5 sitting there at the 10 ranking on DraftKings right now. That would be Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris. We'll talk about the Clippers news. Paul George sitting, a couple other guys still out for them. Tyler Hero got up there to a 10 at 7-2 on DraftKings with Jimmy out. Unfortunate Bam news. Dwayne Deadman sitting at 3-1. And then Chimezie Metu, my guy, Austin Spurs alone, doing big things in the DFS, NBA DFS streets of late.
I do not, were I to have an objection to any of these fine men, and I like Hero getting up there on the time here, were I to have an objection, I guess it would be Marcus Morris Sr. So that's obviously the late game. So we have quite some time to discuss this. I think he's an excellent value. I haven't projected not that differently than, say, Kevin Huerter, who we again have as the same price. And I have projected pretty similarly. Let me go with a new number there. So let's use that as an opening spot. Let's go ahead and talk about either or both of those guys. I know you love the Morris brothers, but I think maybe your personal bias is leading you to be a little fonder there. Humorously enough, I have Kevin Huerter projected for 26.25 fantasy points, and I have Marcus Morris projected for 26 fantasy points.
Okay.
So I have them as nearly identical projections here, and I would find them both to be solid 9s. I think they're both excellent value. Obviously, you have some positional differences there. Huerter also lets you play guard and forward. So Huerter, I think, is shooting guard, small forward. So on DraftKings, for which those ratings are based, I do think that's a little bit extra of a cookie. But you did this since I last saw the rankings. Talk to me about why you had Marcus Morris at a 10 and Kevin Huerter at a 9.
Well, for me, it's obviously those guys in the same price tier there on DraftKings. And there's some other guys in that 4K range that caught 9s. But for me, with Marcus Morris, it's just the fact that Paul George is off the court. And obviously Kawhi Leonard's still missing from this roster. So, like, all the usage is almost gone from like what we saw last year with a very similar roster. Reggie Jackson, obviously, is going to take a ton of that usage. I think we can expect mid, maybe high 30s if things go right in terms of usage for Reggie Jackson.
I think 36 minutes and 39.5 fantasy points right now. But for $6,000, he looks extremely good. No issue there. We get to talk about Eric Bledsoe again, which you thought that was out of our lives.
Yeah, he always pulls us back in. But just to kind of round it out with my best friend there, Marcus, I just think there's extra usage. I think he could catch a cheap double-double here at 4-4 in this matchup against the Kings. And I think the minutes are on the rise. He rested their last game, I believe. Obviously, he's been in and out all season. But I mean, I think I want to attack that Clippers team more than a guy like Kevin Huerter, because you've still got Trae Young, you've still got John Collins there. Like they're the guys that gobble up the majority of the Hawks usage are still active, and I think it's just a different scenario on the wing for the Clippers.
I would say though, like I think Huerter right now for 4.5 or 5 extra minutes. So I do think that's, and I think those minutes are a little bit more secure now that we have Cam Reddish out as well. Obviously, we still have no DeAndre Hunter. It's really hard for him to not see a significant amount of minutes. Having Paul George out makes that secondary game a little closer, but it's still more likely to blow out than the Hawks game. I think Hawks game sitting on a 2 or 3 point line. Clippers game was on 10 and is now on 8, something like that. So there's still some chance of a blowout. Kings on the second half of the back-to-back. I think actually the only team on the second half of back-to-back, your Sacramento Kings. So not, super encouraging. So super excited to take pieces of this game, but I think I would slightly prefer Kevin Huerter were they to be evenly owned. Now, I think a large part of what your value is here is I think Reggie Jackson is going to be one of the highest owned players of the night, if not the highest owned player of the night. He's going to be massively
second right now in Kyle's rankings, or projections, I should say.
Deadman? I'm trying to think who he's got. No, it's not going to be Deadman.
Deadman 3.
You have Deadman 3? God, we're doing this
Kyle
already.
does.
I'm just doing lists already. All right. I'll try Chimezie Metu.
Yeah, it's my guy Chimezie there.
Is it Chimezie Metu? I read some people have I'm not on as frequently as I used to be, and that makes me sad because I love you all. But people have still occasionally been sending me bad DFS takes. And someone referred to Chimezie Metu today as a sneaky play, writing for another site. Like it would just be an under the radar play. And I was like, no, I'm not sure that was the right pick.
Just because people don't know who it is doesn't mean it's not. That doesn't mean
just because the writer doesn't know what he's talking about and tries to cover 6 sports doesn't mean that DFS players know.
If we're looking at Kyle's ownership here, Eddie, really interesting to me. This is the first time in about 90 minutes that I've taken a peek at this.
Yep.
Marcus Morris sitting at 4th, about 27.5%.
Oh, I think he'll be well less than that. That's interesting. Partially because of the interaction with Reggie. Like I think Huerter will be well above that, and I think Marcus Morris will be well less than that. I would. Hang for a minute. I was about to say I'll bet under 20%, but I think slightly over. I'll go like 21% right now. Obviously, many things will change over the 4 hours, but I do think he'll be less than that. But you were saying
Kevin Huerter, 11% right now. I don't know if this has been updated since the Cam Reddish news because Kyle was just on the previous stream, so maybe he's sitting at his command center there about to push an update. But that's where we were. I guess I could check. This says last updated, I guess 5 minutes ago. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye on how that moves over the next hour.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, well, I have the wrong read on this, I will presume, as literally everyone disagrees with me. I just checked 4 sites, and every single one of them has Marcus Morris owned higher than Kevin Huerter, which really makes me prefer Kevin Huerter because I also have him raw projected more, and he's more positionally eligible, and I'm less inclined to automatically be playing another person in that game where I would have a lot of Reggie Jackson, as everyone will. And it's less likely that game blows out. So if they're even evenly owned, I think Kevin Huerter ends up being my guy there. So I'll go back to Kevin Huerter maybe being a slightly better 10. But that's we've discussed that nuance enough. I don't think there's any reason to change anyone. They're both certainly in that 9-10 realm.
In that price range, you've got from the Clippers, 4.9 Eric Bledsoe, as you mentioned at the top of the show, 4.6 Terrence Mann. Both of those guys got 9s on DK. And then there's some other options, not as appetizing, but like PJ Washington with Mason Plumlee still out. Maybe he gets back into the starting lineup. today.
I expect him to start. I don't think the Nick Richards experiment.
It was a birthday start, right?
Birthday start?
It was his birthday. Yeah.
I know it was his birthday. It was just like I don't. Borrego's on the pop tree. I don't think we cotton for those kind of shenanigans at the NBA level. But for the Clippers, as far as setting aside, I actually have an incredibly close line between Bledsoe, Ibaka, Marcus Morris as my favorite guy after Reggie. I have Reggie as the best guy on the team. That's really close between Bledsoe, Ibaka, and best friend.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on the Surge train with me because I've been there for a little bit now. Hasn't worked out until the last time he went out. Got 26 minutes against the Pelicans, even though they lost by almost 20 to the lowly Pelicans in that game. None of that was really blowout time for Surge. So if he's 3-5, like it's tough to get there with all the other center options. But he's
is he center only? I thought he still had forward.
Yeah.
Is he
center only? Yeah,
that is.
But you know where he's forward eligible? On Superdraft. You sign up on Superdraft, promo code FTN, $100 deposit, you'll get a $100 bonus. So if you haven't signed up yet, and I guess I'll post this again in a minute. We've got our weekly listener league going over there, free to enter. I'll post the link in the Discord again here shortly. Enter that. Top 3 are going to win a contest ticket to tomorrow's main NBA GPP. And if you finish above Eddie or myself, you get an extra $1 ticket. And you can stack those. If you get first, you beat us, and you get the main slate ticket, a $1 ticket, all for free. Just, being in our Discord and signing up for Superdraft. So not a bad deal there on Wednesdays, Eddie.
I like it. Sounds good. Let's look at some of these other names. I have no objection seriously with any of your 10s. Let's look at the 9s here. See if anyone, it seems particularly conspicuously good or bad. I would say if you have a 9 that I am, let's see, if I had to move down a 9, who among these 9s does not make my socks roll all the way up and down? I got Roby up to a 9. That's a good play. I'm impressed by that. That's nice. Well done.
Anybody you would maybe move up to?
We'll get to we'll hit that when we look at the 8s. I think if I was to pull a guy from here, it would probably be LaMelo Ball. I think LaMelo Ball I might have as an 8 or not a 9. Now the game is obviously bonkers 8 shit fast. Over under into the 230s, we don't see that much anymore. But balanced offense a bit more so,
sure,
as you'd like to say. And again, slightly higher blowout risk. And at the price, and we'll deal with a significant amount of Drew Holiday, who is not quite the Drew Holiday of old defensively. Sure. But if there was a guy there I had to move down, I feel like he's a bit more of an, like 10-4 is a really significant number. Obviously, I love balls, but I think that might be, I guess that's the one I like the least. And I don't even think it's necessarily wrong. He's on the 8-9 line for me. So I'm liking where we ended with the 9s. You have Trae Young as your top, as your top 8. You have a 9 on Superdraft at the 1.15, which I agree is the appropriate ranking there. I think you can make an argument there versus LaMelo Ball, and I'll specifically look at what I have them projected out for. But for $600 cheaper.
Well, I would also clarify, it's just when you get to the 8s, right? It's just sorted by team. So he shows up.
Okay, it's not your. I know that doesn't mean it's 8.9. I was just sort of. Let's see. I have Trae Young for 35 minutes and 46 and a quarter fantasy points. And I have LaMelo currently for 34 minutes and 45.75 fantasy points. So I actually have LaMelo Ball projected for slightly less than Trae Young at $600. I think you have some argument the minutes are going to tick up. I think you have some argument the usage is going to tick up. I think there is a very relevant point that Justin Holiday is now, which is going to make his defensive life a lot easier. I think
sure. That's a good point.
So I think again I'm the toughest thing about doing shows less frequently for me is having less of a sense on the ownership. So knowing which of those guys is 10% and which of those guys is 15% does factor into my math a lot here. But were I to set aside the ownership, I would rather play Trae Young than LaMelo Ball. So I would probably invert that 9 and 8. We don't necessarily need to. They're both near the lines for me, but I think at the very least, I think I would have Trae sneak up into that 9 range for me. So responding to a couple messages there. I'm not, Trey is on a very hot streak. That helps. Also, not irrelevant. Okay, so all right, so Miles Turner is going to play, right? I'm remembering that correctly?
Yes, he is in.
Okay, but just to highlight out there, so they're gonna. I like Chris Duarte himself, by the way. I don't know if we have him ranked up, but that's a very interesting question. I think he presses back into the starting lineup. I don't know if we have that information yet.
I have not seen the lineup.
Yeah, I haven't seen that lineup. But Miles Turner is in, which I guess is a relative downgrade for what I was hoping for from Trey. But yeah, I would slightly prefer Trey Young there. But I have seen his name listed in a lot of the other content that I've had time to peruse today. All right, so we'll go back to the list. This is fun. We'll just bounce down some names as we're going here.
Sure.
All right, so Trey Day there. Capella is a high. John Collins, Turner being back in, I think keeping him at an 8 is right. Tatum is right. Bob Williams is good. Rozier, Hayward, Oubre, PJ Washington. You could argue PJ up to the 9. Again, just because I'm presuming he starts, which is a bit of a guess there. Jared Allen, you could make an argument for. There's a lot of centers tonight, but I think there's enough going on there. Faku, your boy in there.
Get him in there. No Bones Highland tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, no Bones.
It's kind of amazing that my two favorite backup point guards in the NBA are on the same team.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. You don't tend to get that a lot.
Josh Hart's a game time decision.
No, thanks for nothing. What do you think about Karis Levert? I think you may end up being a little underowned versus where he should be. Then people are maybe slightly overreacting to.
Well, especially since I think it was Monday's slate when he was maybe $100 cheaper than this on DraftKings, and the field flocked to him because of the cheap price, and it was understandable. But for me, he's just not seeing the minutes or opportunity with everybody healthy. In terms of Sabonis, Brogdon, Duarte being in there now taking a bunch of shots. Like he's not late season Karis from last year. He's not Brooklyn Nets without all the stars, Karis Levert. And I think it's a very fair price. But in the context of this slate, he just really doesn't stand out for me.
I think that's fair. I think you could I'm curious how low the ownership gets based on everything. Again, you have Brogdon in there. That seems to be the greatest negative correlation with his production. I really like him out there more with Broggy Pants sidelined.
Sure. And referencing Kyle's ownership again, he's got him 7th.
Oh, really?
Overall, yeah. And right there with somebody else who I'm sure we'll talk about, Trey Mann from OKC, who won Dagenalt guard roulette last game and now gets Josh Giddey out. So I was hesitant at the beginning of the day to go to him at all. But now with Giddey out, I think there's a good chance he gets enough time where he's a strong value.
Yeah, you have a chance. There's some Teo Maladin bullshit, and there's any number of things that I think are possible with that rotation, unfortunately. But let's see, how did we end up with these minutes going here? I mean, Shea and I think Dort will also, based on recent disappointment, get underowned based on everything going there. But that's let's talk about that game for a bit. I remember I think it's 2 weeks ago exactly. So we have the Thunder and the Rockets finishing up their season series today.
Yeah, I noticed that.
This is their fourth matchup. They're done.
This is it.
This is it. If you're into that whole Oklahoma Texas rivalry,
I was just talking about on Monday that we love seeing this matchup for these two teams because we rarely get to play them in a competitive matchup with their prices down as they are.
Yeah.
But now they've exhausted our OKC Houston matchups after tonight. I'm not sure I like that.
We're done. So I remember not last time they played, which was 2 days ago, I want to say, right? They played Monday.
Yeah.
They played 2 weeks ago today because I was on that show and I put forward a very strong play Christian Wood argument. who in individual matchups in the nature of, and Sans John Wall and everyone else who was missing on the team, said like, hey, I think Christian Wood should be good. And he proceeded to have really the only bad game he's had in his last, 7 games against the Thunder, going back to even his Detroit days. In the 3 times we've played them this year, Wood has 60 and 60 fantasy points and 30 in that game. So I don't know. I'm a little wall shy there. But unsurprisingly, you end up with Wood and everybody's favorite Stan. Basically, the way they're running the offense now for the Rockets is just infinite amounts of pick and roll with Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood, and
nice out of there.
And
I love to see.
And Muscala is out of there now as well for today. Yeah. So they're very limited. Sorry.
And Favors also out still.
Yeah, well, sorry, I presume that Favors is still out. Mike Muscala is out as well. So you're literally looking at him being guarded by some Roby / JRE hybrid. And they tried JRE for a lot Monday. That didn't the hell work. So, a lot of great center slate, a lot of great pay-up options tonight. Jokic, obviously, we can go through the center thing in a second, but this is a really good, someone said stat me. Okay, we'll stat someone. Hold on. Boom. Download. Wood. Thunder. All right, they played on Monday. He played 31 minutes and had 60 and a quarter fantasy points. So just under 2 fantasy points per minute with 24 points and 21 rebounds and 4 stocks. I'm sure everyone remembers that. 2 weeks ago today, they played. He played only 29 minutes, still had a double-double, going 10 points, 14 rebounds, 1 block, no other stats. Shot 4 of 16 from the field. That's pretty rare for a center. But, only scored 31 DK points. Really his only bad game in this situation in a while. The first time they played this year, way back in October, 61 fantasy points in 33 minutes with 33 and 14. If you want to look at their games from last year, 47 fantasy points in 36 minutes, 26 fantasy points in 22 minutes, and 42 fantasy points in 26 minutes. And his last game with Detroit against them, if you want, 47 fantasy points in 39. So, again, the Thunder are a movable feast, but they're missing some of the guys who would have been helpful in this situation. So they're going to struggle in the front court where he's going to be guarded by, again, Roby or Basley, or I don't even the hell know, but you could make an argument to 10 Christian Wood. I do think I like Wood a little more than KPJ, but they're both exceptional. So
I'm gonna shout out that I think I've seen him in here before, but Sharkbait, showing up in the Discord, asking a quick 2v2, Eddie, before we get back on track here, because I was kind of waiting just because I wanted to, shout out Finding Nemo. Duarte and Dort, or Eric Bledsoe and Kevin Huerter. It's pretty solidly the second one for me.
Yeah, I mean, the second one is going to project better for me by 3 or 4 points. But Duarte is an example of a guy who has a very reasonable upside in a matchup that gets easier now without having without having Holiday out there. He's going to start and he's going to play 33 minutes or something, which is very relevant. He's going to be well lower owned than every other player we just listed. And the other benefit that we didn't get to is the fact that I think they will actually do a fair amount of hiding Trae Young on him on defense. And so he's going to get the most advantageous single there. So the second one's going to project better for me. The first one's going to be way lower owned in a GPP, depending what the hell the rest of my lineup looks like and who else I have from these games. I might even be slightly inclined towards the first one, but I would agree with you. The second one does project better, and it's a big slate, so I wouldn't be as overly concerned with wonderful ownership plays, but that's very close.
I find it interesting that Oklahoma City is favored in this game.
That doesn't happen a lot these days.
Well, especially with their good bigs are gone, or certainly their more experienced bigs are gone for this game. Josh Giddey out. I guess I'm surprised. You still got Dort at SGA, obviously, but I think I guess they are at home. So 2.5 point favorites. That's not crazy. Probably calling these teams more even with that spread and OKC being at home.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit generous, but it's not grotesque to me.
Sure. Let's kind of talk the top though, because we've talked about a lot of these values that you can smash in. You can see the rankings if you're an FTN subscriber. But with all that value, like I think a lot of people are going to trend towards a stars and scrubs type build. So on DraftKings specifically, Giannis still cracking the 12K mark. Jokic right behind him, 11.8. Luka Doncic, who's picked it up fantasy-wise of late. Then Joel Embiid, who, minutes have been limited a lot this season, but his first game back from COVID, he played 40+, I think, in that.
Yeah, it was overtime, but...
We've talked about LaMelo, Jason Tatum there up against Philly, and obviously Paul George is out. Who's your favorite if you're going to choose one of those 5-digit salary guys tonight?
Well, so the one that I enjoy playing the most is Embiid, I think. And that's just simply based on the fact that I think the ownership ends up being really, really quite low. I think there is a strong motivation to win. We've specifically heard, both Udoka and Rivers talking about how important this matchup is coming, like that they've discussed it quite a bit. Again, the minutes haven't seemed terribly perilous. Much like we are seeing on a couple other teams, a lot of usage should flow through him here. And this is a Celtic system that's doing an exceptional job of, slowing shit down. And I think they can do a much better job of guarding the peripheral players than necessarily limiting Embiid. I think he still has to do a lot for this team. Could we get Tyrese Maxey's going to get a lot of Marcus Smart. Could we still get a big usage game out of him? Sure. Maybe you get a Seth Curry game. You get the 2-time-a-year Danny Green game. Maybe Tobias Harris, who's going to get a lot of Al Horford, isn't bothered by that and shakes that funk. But I think there is a real chance that Embiid gets to some sort of ceiling game. He doesn't project quite as well as, say, I think Giannis and Jokic, if we can get a good feeling on their ownership, is a more interesting parallel. But if I'm trying to get spicy, probably Embiid is the one I get to. I think he's less owned than all these guys. I think he's less owned than Trey. I think he's, So I think, I've seen people specifically talking a lot about trying to avoid him. I don't think it's really an avoid spot. I think the minutes can definitely be there, and I think he's got one of the better spots on the team. So between the other two, I think at this point I'm gonna slightly defer towards Jokic between him and Giannis. Both these games have some capacity of blowout. I think they're both 8-point lines or some such with both the Nuggets and the Bucks obviously favored to slap around a little bit here, but just they need Jokic to do everything. Like they just need him to do absolutely everything on this team now. It feels a little safer. I think my gut, and that's not something I like to discuss in that context, feels a little more solid in this game, remaining a bit competitive in Orlando. No one here on either side of a back-to-back either way, but I think I will very slightly, and I think he may honestly be a bit lower, but that's a real question. What do we think the ownership expectation is for Jokic versus for Giannis?
Right now, Kyle's got him, Giannis, that is 3% higher, 27-24. I'll go ahead and refresh this to make sure I didn't miss.
That's sort of my gut there as well. So you're losing your center spot.
Yeah. So
you can't play, Deadman, Christian Wood, and Jokic. You can't do that. You can play Deadman, and again, I don't think Christian Wood will be as much of a priority as he should be, which is one of the reasons I really like him. There's a lot of centers who conceivably have a good, like I would have been a big fan of Capella, even at his price, if he was going to be dealing with, Sabonis at center all night instead of Miles Turner. So that's one off the list. But there's a lot of obviously very strong center plays, including who is the best value play on the night, which is going to be Deadman, I think. Just got to play infinite time. I buried the lead a little bit there, but I think my last run on Deadman had him at 27 minutes and 29 fantasy points for 100 over the minimum. That's hard to get away from. I'm curious what you and Kyle have projected as minutes totals for him, but that's a Miami team that's going to have to come up with some bigs, especially in a matchup against a Cleveland team that does not play small.
Yeah, Deadman I have for 26 minutes right now. Projects great. Point per dollar wise, the best value play on the slate.
Yep.
For me, we did just get, sorry to be off topic, but this was somebody that I was kind of looking at as somebody who could take some significant minutes on the wing for the Hawks tonight. Chris Kirshner, the beat reporter for the Hawks, for the Atlantic, I believe, said TLC will have a major role for the Hawks tonight. I'm, referring to minutes probably more than production, but somebody to come in there and steal some minutes.
I had him at 21 minutes. It's going to be interesting. I mean, they still run really deep. I assume they're going to start. I'm not curious. There's a number of ways they could go starting it here. Who do you think they start? They'll start Trey, Collins, Porter, Capella, and
Solomon Hill.
You think it is Solomon Hill?
Yeah.
So, but you're going to still have. I mean, we're still going to work into the rotation. Like it's the presence of like Delon Wright and Lou Williams.
Yep.
That sort of defers in. So like a major role, I still think it would be hard for me to say more than 22, 24. I mean, they may run Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot into the ground, but he is the minimum. He will be 1% owned or 2. Like there's some great value out there. So I think you're fine to do that. He'll be less owned than Solomon Hill, to be sure.
Ooh. Well, Cody Martin is ruled out. We can just go through some of this news.
So that's good for any
Kelly Oubre, good for McDaniels.
Any Bucks you wanted to play because he's
sure.
There's not a lot of defenders on that team, and it's one more down.
And the Thunder will start SGA Dort Basley, who is in had an elbow issue, I think.
Roby and JRE.
No, Trey Mann starting at the 2. So I think that ownership might go up a little bit from what Kyle has projected since he got so much run last game. Porzingis is in as expected. The Magic, no surprises here. Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Carter Jr., and Bamba. Nuggets starting Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, Nikola Jokic. JaMychal Green is in off the bench for the Nuggets. And the Wolves, no surprises here. D'Lo and Edwards, Torian Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, Karl Anthony Towns. And the Hawks answer.
Edwards, I wasn't sure if Edwards was going to get in there because, they have a whole flu going through that. I don't know if that news was old and I missed it when it came out originally, but they have a.
It was right before we went on.
Going through. Was it just for? I always missed the 5:58 news for that reason because we're getting the tech set up.
Well, if you want some TLC tonight's the night
starting
to do it because he is starting.
Yep, it just hit. Well, that'd be a major freaking roll. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how they're going to go. That's really interesting. Well,
I don't think he's going to. I don't think he would crack my 20 lineups if I was playing tonight, Eddie.
25 minutes before lock. I got to reproject all this stuff. It's. All right, I'm news searching and coach comment reading and trying to find anything to give me a better sense of exactly how many minutes this is. If I think there's a chance he gets 30 minutes, we're having an interesting conversation here.
Interesting that the news from Kirshner that he was talking to Chris Gent, an assistant coach. I don't know if assistant coaches are more liable to give up, important information like that, but that's who gave us the TLC tip.
Got it in there 30 seconds before we would have got the news otherwise. But
No minutes limit for Tingus Pingus, who's been playing well.
No minutes limit for Cole Anthony either, which was surprising for me.
Yeah, I like Cole Anthony as a tournament play tonight. Certainly not a priority. He's priced correctly on DraftKings for his upside. 7.9K.
Yeah, 8K is a real number, and the
1.3 on Superdraft is nice though.
Yeah, it is. Matchup's kind of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's. So I think in general, the Thunder Rockets game is going to end up being under-owned relative to where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the minutes are a little more dependable. I'm just getting into a couple things.
Trey Mann's going to be one of. I know he was already projecting really highly in Kyle's model and his ownership projections, but
yeah, point and shooting guard eligible there.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, so let me reproject. We'll go with the Thunder first. So let's go with. Okay. All right. Okay, so they started Mann,
SGA, Dort, Basley, JRE.
Basley and JRE. Okay. So the real question is, how much time do you think we get?
Same 5 for the Wizards. Dinwiddie, Beal, KCP, Kuzma, Gafford.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about Roby being actually pretty strong. It's just like a much lower owned Dwayne Deadman.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ownership is a hell of a lot less there. And also worth pointing out, JRE, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, is power forward eligible still. Like, they need a lot of time from my guy, is all I'm saying. Like, he's not the most productive guy. I remember crapping on him a lot on a show earlier. Rarely gets above like 10 shots or something. Some of the ceiling is there, but he's power forward eligible and gives you a piece of this game. So the Thunder are definitely the tougher side of this for me to do. There's a lot of point guards and centers I'd want to put in a lineup.
I'm still, for what it's worth, our buddy Doug Dubs in here asking TLC or Deadman, utility spot, DK, GPP. For me, I'm going Deadman. TLC could really tank your lineup. I just see a much bigger downside with TLC doesn't, to me, have the same upside as these other value guys we've been discussing for the last 40 minutes.
I think that's likely. It's important to remember the teams these guys are playing on and the matchups that they're specifically dealing with. So, I think the Cleveland-Miami game is a better environment in a couple ways. But, all right, so we have that. There's no Reddish there. Yeah, I now have Tim Taylor-Cabarro up to 23 minutes and 16 and a quarter fantasy points, which is, I don't know where everyone else lands, but that's fine for a 3K. But I have Deadman for literally a dozen more fantasy points, to be clear. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end up with Deadman there most often than not. I like the fact that his ownership's just getting limited a ton here.
Sure.
Any love for Davis? I think people are asking about TD, Terrence Davis. Also guard forward eligible, only 3,700. They are missing a lot of dudes. What is our current update on the Kings? They are going to have no Harrison Barnes. They're going to
Bagley.
No Bagley.
And I would assume that Mo sits again. He's been out 3 straight games, been listed questionable every time, knee soreness. That's been bugging him for over like 18 months now. He has not been healthy. And I'm not super high on Terrence Davis. 2 games ago, I thought he was in a great spot, picked up 2 quick fouls, then got injured, went to the locker room, only played like 12 minutes or something like that. Last night, 14 and a half in that game against the Lakers.
Yeah.
I just think they want to play Buddy Hield and Davion Mitchell more, and they should be playing because both of those guys are better than Terrence Davis.
Do you want to talk about Trey Mann for a little bit as a player? I don't know how much you followed his development here, but a lot of people are not overly familiar with him. I've seen him play down in the G League a couple times this year. I'm wondering how familiar you are with his career previous to that point.
Well, most of my exposure to Trey Mann, both watching him and DFS wise, was in summer league this past year. But the thing about Trey Mann that I like from a DFS perspective is he's a long, lanky guard. He's more of a combo guard, like 6'5", maybe even a little taller. I think he's a really versatile player, can develop into a good piece for this OKC team.
He went to Florida or Florida State, like he was down south, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm remembering that 1 year now.
Gator. To your point about his G League performances this year, he's played 6 games with the OKC Blue.
You're my boy.
27 minutes per game in those 6. Started all 6, obviously. 16 points, 4.5 boards, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals. Obviously, your G League stats don't translate 1-to-1 to NBA competition, but it's a pretty good measurement of your production in this style of game. 47% from the field, shooting 5 threes a game, 37% from beyond the arc. I think he's going to be a really solid rotation player at worst in the NBA for many years. And in the context of this slate, obviously like him a lot.
Someone's saying Lowry and Hero, and Herm in the chat, whose opinion I think we both respect, it is safe to say, landed very strongly on Tyler Hero. Yeah. And I think that is worth having a conversation here. Obviously, we know we have no Buttles, no Bam. Having some significant exposure to at least a couple guys on the Heat does seem like a priority here. I think I have them projected nearly identically, and because of the positional issue, getting Lowry in, and what I expect to be lower ownership significantly than Hero, I think I would rather play Kyle Lowry. I'm curious where you land on this. He is on DK $400 more. Yeah. I suspect you are going to get Lowry ownership in the teens and Hero ownership in the mid-30s. I don't see I don't understand Cleveland's defense. I like to say when I don't know something, I don't understand how Cleveland's defense isn't worse. Yeah. I look at the players, and I look at the system, and I look at the coach, and I look at starting 7-footers and small forward, and I look at them just like, they should be freaking terrible, and they're not statistically. And so I will go ahead and say, like, I need to come up with a couple hours one of these weekends and just watch Cavs basketball and figure out how their defense isn't garbage. Because I don't know how their defense isn't garbage, but I know it's around the whole way. They struggle a little against traditional centers. Allen isn't that good, but they're generally an extremely competent defense this year. And I don't know the hell why. So I don't have a great take as to whether or not I would expect Hero or Lowry to be particularly exceptional. And again, when you get rid of both Butler and Adebayo, I think that affects them both roughly evenly. So I have Tyler Hero as a better point per dollar play by a very small amount. But I actually have him projected very slightly lower than Kyle Lowry, and I have Kyle Lowry at like half the ownership. So I'm curious where you land there.
For me, I just want to eat. I agree. I think the only thing that could possibly get me to play Lowry is just the massive ownership disparity between the two. Tyler Hero's just been the better player this season, and it's translated to daily fantasy. The opportunity to me offensively is going to be greater. And Kyle Lowry can certainly put up a number at 7.6 that would be acceptable on this slate. I don't think we've seen him crack 50 DK this year.
Would you care to pull out the board?
Oh, let's pull it out.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Fuck, what is it now? 8? I think it's 8.6. I think you swept me last week.
Did I? I had a good
I think so.
How much are we supposed to believe TLC gonna do well? It's a very fair question. Korfhager. I don't know what that name is supposed to be. Is 4 centers enough? Yeah, you can get in there. You can get a little 4 center action going. Let me look at some of my other notes and guys I want to talk about. We haven't talked about yet. There's a lot of
Are we doing Hero Lowry straight up on DK?
Straight up.
Okay, I got Tyler.
Okay, I got Kyle.
There we go. On the way back, I told you I would be leading by Christmas, so I gotta start picking up the pace here.
You were leading for one beautiful week. 1 week.
It was a beautiful week.
I'm sure it felt good. Good. That's the way I want it to be. I wanted you to be able to see like the sunlight. Right.
Just for a brief moment.
Just for a moment, just like,
yeah.
Come back in your cage.
Until I emerge defeated in June. We'll see. We'll see.
You got a shot. It's a small shot, but it's a shot.
We got 13 minutes to lock here. 3 games going off. Interesting scheduling tonight. 8 of the 9 games tipping by, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let me double check. Yeah. And then the one late night hammer, Kings, Clippers. So first lock here, Minnesota at Washington, Atlanta at Indiana, Denver at Orlando. Anything we've overlooked from these teams? I don't think we have much interest in the Washington side on this slate, DK specifically. We talked a little bit about Minnesota. We talked at length, Atlanta, Indiana.
Atlanta, Indiana. Levert gets another mention for me. 5,400 is still a little too cheap. He's not exciting. I think the ownership comes in lower than we keep bringing up here, but maybe not. But I think he ends up a little bit under 20% or around 20% in any case. Horder again at 4,400. Do we want to do Horder and best friend? Do you want another one?
Yeah. Let's do another one. I never miss a chance to cheer for Marcus Morris.
I'm doing it just to conflict you emotionally and internally. So that's good. Trey again. It's really tough to get to Trey, but like you're gonna get Trey in a matchup that I now legit like. Like going from marginal to he's obviously in good form at this point. He's not on a back-to-back. One of a number of guys who seem to have turned a quarter, and I think that has proven is legit. And now he should get an easier matchup both ends there. I think Trey's we're talking about, but I guess we did enough there. Yeah. Well, Denver and Orlando for me is really like if you're telling me I have to take a player after Jokic, like I think I'm on Barton or no minutes limit. Cole Anthony, I think. Like I'm curious where we're.
Facu for me.
It is Facu. Yeah, Facu. Facu's 3,900, but it's just tough. There's just so much.
Yeah, I mean, in the context of the full slate, it wouldn't be Facu at that price point. But if we're just
talking about Marcus Howard out there too, and Money Morris, but they're minus both Bones and Austin Rivers.
I mean, it's amazing that we're not talking Terrence Ross at 3-2.
Right.
But
we just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, like there's certainly a very reasonable chance he would take infinite piles of shots, and I could certainly see them going well. So I'm reviewing a couple lineups. Oh, I love this lineup. Well, but I don't want to read it out, but Rybuds, if you're watching the show, let me know if I can read that lineup out. I love this. It's all guys I love. I love this lineup.
Nice.
You should like. It's got almost all our pairings. It doesn't have Lowry, but it's got the other guys we just bet on
nice.
there.
T. Ross did pick up an 8, Eddie, just because he's 3-2, double-digit shots last time out, but not a priority.
Yeah, I will give you my most recent projection. It has a lot to do with the system and the lack of points. I am at 25 minutes and 18 3/4 fantasy points now. Perfectly cromulent. Is that word enough for T. Ross? But
let's see. You can get to a couple of the questions here.
Let me look at those early games a little more, see if anything else jumps off the page. Screams at me. Franz Wagner is still in play. You're getting like point Franz once in a while. Someone asked me about Gary Harris.
Is coming up, though.
Yeah, no, I'm retiring undefeated on Gary Harris. We got that one last week. That was exciting. I felt good about that.
Yeah. Do we think PJ gets the start again, right? Just to confirm that.
You're referring to Tucker?
No, Washington.
Oh, I imagine Washington is going to be no, it's going. Didn't they already give their lineup? Their lineup is going to be Russell Edwards, Prince, Vanderbilt, Cat,
Charlotte.
You said Washington, and I assumed you. Never mind. Okay.
PJ Washington.
I think PJ Washington starts at center over Nick Richards. Is that our question?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have a great sense on that. It was just a little weird they went that way.
Sure.
Um,
Gideon Favors out at least 2 games, they said. Non-COVID illness. I think the NBA players, I said this the other night, I think they need to start getting their flu shots too, because people are dropping like flies with these non-COVID illnesses.
Yeah. You wonder...
Any interest in Max Strus with all the Heat injuries? It's not for me with Tyler Hero still there, and all the other value even on that team.
Cute with Vincent, and there's a lot going on there, but I will give you my best line on Miami now. I know my best rated guy is going to be Deadman. The order of plays in which I like them relative to salary, ignoring ownership, are Deadman, Hero, Lowry. Oh God, this hurts me. Sneaking into 4th place, PJ Tucker. Now, I'm not doing that, and I don't want you to do that. When you get fewer playmakers on the court, PJ Tucker gets worse. Again, many years of Westbrook and Harden are out. I'm going to play PJ Tucker. No.
Yeah.
No. Don't do it. He can't make his own shot. You want more players. You've already got Duncan, who's going to be spending the whole day standing out there at the 3-point line. Like, Lowry can do a little shit and Hero can do whatever, but there will be less other guys drawing attention. PJ Tucker will get less corner open threes. Not a good rebounding matchup. No. Don't do it. So he came in on my my purely unnuanced rankings there. Max Stress I have at 24 minutes and 19 and a half fantasy points. That's perfectly capable. And also guard forward eligible, by the way.
Yeah.
A little interesting there.
Useful tonight for sure.
Yeah. Which I have as a slightly better Caleb Martin. But again, Max Stress is 4K. So like any... sorry, lots of questions. But yeah, for me, it's oddly for a team that's going to be missing so much usage. I think you can make an argument for Duncan Robinson. It's tough because again, I have to go with the existing numbers by position, by rank, by pace, by everything else I see out of Cleveland, and they've been decent. I am suspicious, but I have to until I have I'm a big fan of overruling numbers with insight when possible. I don't actually have that insight, so I just got to look at it the way it is, which is to say that I have Deadman, Hero, Lowry. My interest in playing them in tournaments is probably Lowry, Deadman, and Hero. And again, Tyler Hero has been just great this year. Real chance at any number of postseason awards and should get them. It's just a popularity thing. I think Tyler Hero is going to end up being... I think he gets over 40%, actually.
Tory Craig, late addition to the injury report, now questionable with an illness.
That's really relevant.
Sure.
He was, Turner being in makes it not incredibly relevant, but if Turner had been out, you were going to have real issues with they would have had to start because you can't go super small against it. So they'd have started Tory Craig at the 4 and put him on John Collins and sort of all sorts of other stuff. But
solidifies Keelan Martin a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to help Keelan Martin out. Keelan Martin now again, he screwed me once, Keelan Martin. But I think Craig was 32. Keelan Martin was 34. Keelan Martin went from, I think, having a 22-minute projection to now I would say it's closer to 25 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Is Porter and Wood together on Superdraft a bad idea? That might be on Showdown. I don't know what he means by SD. A good question.
No, so he's talking Superdraft. 1.4x KPJ, 1.25 Christian Wood.
Irish Rogue asking us to clarify our rankings on studs. I do not have. I think LaMelo Ball at 10-4 for reasons discussed. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. Would be my lowest of the, let's say, 9K and higher studs. He's the only one of the ones who are ranked reasonably well against an 8. We haven't specifically given a call out to Karl Anthony Towns. Everyone being in who was possibly going to be in help. So, Vanderbilt and Edwards were both questionable, and Edwards, could take a butt ton of shots here, and Vanderbilt is an excellent rebounder. And so everything went against Towns. So at 9,500 now, he's fine from someone I was going to strongly recommend earlier today. FanDuel price is still pretty juicy. So I can still a little excited there, but yeah. So that is that. But I don't have a huge differentiation on the studs versus where I think they're going to be owned. Really, I don't think either of us had a strong stud take. I like Christian Wood a lot. I suspect he's a little underowned. I think paying up for Giannis in mega pace game, even if there's a blowout risk. I think paying up for Jokic, who has to do everything. I think Embiid is very intriguing in GPPs. I think being a center and the matchup being on its face kind of poor and people being worried about whatever, but I think there's a real chance he plays 37 minutes tonight and just randomly could drop a 60 at I think he's going to be 8% owned. Luka too. He's turned it around. We only had the one absolute monster game, but Luka is very interesting. We haven't talked at all really about the entire Dallas Narlands game. You want to touch on that? Or we're 3 minutes out. So do we want to just news tank for 3 minutes and then talk about?
We'll news tank. We'll questions. Also, Eddie, have an updated ownership projection run from Kyle here. Dwayne Deadman now solidly in first, 43.5%, followed by Reggie Jackson, Chimezie Metu, Tyler Hero, Jokic and Giannis both coming up slightly. Then Eric Bledsoe, Marcus Morris, Trey Mann.
That's smart. Those all make sense. And those super studs will come up with the existence of more all that stuff. Are Duarte and Brogdon okay to pair? Yes, I would be more concerned with pairing it with John Collins or Trae Young or something. But yeah, I don't think having Brogdon will put Duarte out of play in one lineup. Your one lineup having those two guys is a little weird, but I think it's perfectly tolerable.
Good and interesting 2v2 here from our buddy P-Buck. Harrow and Capella or Giannis and Mann. I lean to the second one, but I like that first one a lot too.
They're both fine. Neither of them are bad. Having Turner in makes me lean slightly away from Capella as opposed to how good the matchup could have been. And there's just other center. And I like getting to Christian Wood around that price and yada, yada, yada. So I do think I am more inclined toward the latter. But Towns or Wood, FanDuel, GPP. Again, I would more frequently run Jesus Boner out there. I think, you're on one center there. That's tough. I haven't spent enough time looking on FanDuel to have a great sense of this Triple H 23. I suspect more often that I would still stick with Wood, but it's tricky. Am I playing KPJ? What's the price there? How many of the centers are actually eligible at power forward today? I would need to have put more time into FanDuel to feel like I have a great answer to that question. True. But I suspect because I'm a pretty big Christian Wood fan in this matchup that I would end up there more often. But in fairness, it's your money. That's the best way to answer the question for me. Garland or Brogdon? Someone asked Hobby, who responded with Broggy pants. Again, that's going to have a lot to do with who else I have in that game. We talked a lot about Brogdon, limiting Levert a little bit. It does work the other way. I think I would slightly lean Garland there, though I don't think he's, particularly brilliant in this matchup. But with the new look of this team and no Colin Sexton, he's just been driving a lot more. He's getting into the basket a whole hell of a lot more. Which is, one way he can get there, and dealing with no Bam helps a lot. And at the same time, this is a Miami team that, again, I haven't rechecked this stat this week, but just allows a metric ton of 3-pointers. So we can just be bombing away. There's enough ways that Garland get there. So I think I would actually slightly prefer Darius Garland, but whatevs. Is Oubre all right as the last piece? Yeah, he's fine with Martin. You can get there.
Yeah.
We're down to a few seconds, my friends.
Yeah, 5 seconds till lock here. 3 of the 9 games going here at 7 Eastern.
Nice.
And we are at lock. So
we can try ownership. Only 9 games.
Yeah.
And we can try it. I don't like my chances, but it will be interesting to see how all this stacks up. Jarrett Allen, Horter, or KPJ and Levert. Yeah, that's Jarrett Allen was someone, you got rid of Bam. All of a sudden, he has a chance to really get out here and do his thing again. I can talk about it for a while, but that's basically what the crux is going to come down to there. So, Yeah, and again, you got a lot of valuable centers. All these centers, especially if 50% of the teams have Deadman in there, and there's only whatever the hell the numbers can be, 163% centers. There's not that much left, so you're going to get Jared Allen at 5.5% owned or some number similar to that, and that's appealing. So.
Harrow will pick up the start. Lowry, Harrow, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, Dwayne Deadman. No surprises for the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Danny Green still on his minutes limit. Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid.
Yep.
We got ownership when you are ready, sir.
These first 3 games won't be much. Okay, so I've got the Minnesota game's the other one. Okay. So Denver, Orlando, Indiana, Atlanta, and the Minnesota game, Washington. Ain't nobody gonna be on Washington. So the guys who could be up top would be from that game, Levert, Duarte. I don't know anyone else there. Have a little bit of Trey Mann near the top. Hoarder, obviously, can be a lot of Hoarder, and then Jokic. Okay, let's go with Jokic.
Jokic number 1.
24.
26, which is right in line with what Kyle had. So
I think Kyle had 27-24. We said for Giannis Jokic. I think we were comparing last time you read it, but anyway, within 2% is pretty damn great. So, not gonna be a lot of ownership here. So it's gonna be Levert or Hoarder again. I thought there would be less Levert than other people, especially as the day opened up and you Trey Mann, even Hoarder. So so Hoarder 2. There'll be more Hoarder than Levert. Same position.
Hoarder number 2.
Yeah. And this also goes into what you and I were talking about with Hoarder and Morris. I thought, based on all the Twitter chatter I was seeing, we obviously don't know on Morris yet. So that'll be interesting. Every single other place I looked at had more Morris than Hoarder. And that was after the Reddish news. And nothing changed there. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to still think we get a little more. But I'll say Hoarder 21.
Hoarder 18.
I might get
a little
that
higher than what Kyle had him. Kyle's last update had Herder coming in at 15.
That's still very good. Duarte
number 3.
Really?
1, 2, 3.
I was not confident in that one. Feeling good here. 13.
Duarte 12.5. 12.6.
You didn't sound very excited about missing it by 0.4%. Can I get an upgraded co-host here? This guy's not spelling my shit. Like, this is about me. I don't know. Take a minute, pull up the stream on whatever screen you're on. Okay, get the stream so you can see you and me. Okay. Okay, what's right there? What's that say? Right up here.
Says we've been live for 72 or 63 minutes.
72 or 63. I rest my case. He can't do. All right. So, yeah, I don't even know what I was saying there. 13.
Yep. Right there. Well done.
Yeah, I give up. Karis Levert. No. Yeah, it has to be Karis Levert. Karis Levert. There's nobody left. I'm gonna keep going until I miss one at this point. I got 3.
You have to.
Levert
4.
And yeah, I got this one right too, by the way. I'm not getting nearly enough credit. I was like, I don't think he's at 20%. I think he's way lower. 12, 11, 9, 10.
11.2.
11.2. There you go.
This is where it gets tough.
Yeah, there was nobody on Washington. Man, the DK price wasn't good. Just nobody on Orlando either. Yeah, I'm in trouble now. All right, so it's like Trey or Towns or something weird here.
I'll tell you this. Neither of those two guys are in the next 6. It gets tough.
I'm going to stop wasting time. This isn't a great use of show, but let's go with Brogdon.
Brogdon number 5.
Bullshit.
Keep going.
Bullshit. We must continue. 9%.
Yeah, 9.9.
Neither of those two were in the next 6, did you say?
Well, now 5, but yes. Gotta love the field sometimes.
Give me we'll try it now. Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot.
No, he's like 15.
He's like 15. Okay, read some numbers at this point. I was just
After
because I forgot about him entirely, and then I'm like, oh shit, he's 3K in starting. People must have broke their water on him.
After those first 5, Wendell Carter Jr. 8.5, followed by John Collins 8.3, Franz Wagner getting in there 7.5%, then Kyle Kuzma 6.5.
I mean,
Rui
isn't back yet until that front court becomes an absolute nightmare. But okay.
Yeah, and then wait for Thomas Bryant. D'Lo after Kuzma, the same 6.5, alongside Trae Young 6.4, Cole Anthony 6, and Cat 6. Bradley Beal 6 as well.
Yeah, we didn't discuss Beal again. It's just sort of
Your
one
boy
of those.
Gary Harris 4.1.
Gee, see, people, you just got to get on the front of the train, not the back. Over. Played T. Ross over TLC. I like that.
Facu 1.5.
Please rank these 3: Morris, Mann, and Bledsoe. I'm going to assume that means we got too many Manns tonight.
Yeah,
we have many Manns tonight.
The Manns are emerging.
The dudes are emerging. That's very good.
Tory Craig is in, by the way.
Tory Craig is in. All right. So everyone in the chat is saying Morris, Bledsoe, Mann. I think as far as a projection go, Morris, Bledsoe, Mann is barely correct. I think somebody come get your mans. Yeah, I probably would. I don't know why I'm so anti best friend tonight, but I think I would probably try to find a way, if all else was even, to run Bledsoe out there instead. I know it's Bledsoe. I know we hate him. I like the spot. You could also really make a real argument for Mans as well, as he might actually be playing in the blowout. I don't think so. I don't have a great answer to that question. Again, Clippers, another team that I need to watch more on. They're very boring. They're old and slow. And
I like this one because P-Buck included the 2 Mans and Giannis, or Harrow, Wood, and Herb Jones.
Herbie
getting in there. Josh Hart game time decision.
Well, that's very relevant for exactly. I mean, I don't know. I only think of Herbie in the context of limiting Luka, really, but I would go with the 2 Mans and Giannis.
I would lean that side as well.
Yeah.
Trey Mann and Giannis, or Harrow and SGA. It's a single entry contest.
Those are both great. Like, I'm assuming the first one doesn't have SGA and the second one doesn't have Mann, so that makes them both a little bit individual. If you have, like, those are both very good, and I could math it out, but I'm going to be fine with either one. So it would literally be something like, if I had Christian Wood, I would play the SGA one, and if I didn't have him or KPJ, I would play the Mann side or something like that. But those are both very good, and I'd be making an answer. Is Roby out of play now with Baslian? No, he's center only, which is tough for a number of reasons. But if you get some fouls on JRE, you could get 30 minutes out of Roby still. Like, they're not going to run Basley at center for any extended period of time, especially with the pounding they're going to take down there. So no, not out of play. I like him less than I did, with the possibility that Basley's wrist was going to keep him out. But
I don't think it certainly doesn't get easier defensively for the Thunder when Christian Wood goes out either. Because then you got Şengün coming in. It's not Dan Tice anymore. And Şengün is a fucking bitch to guard on that end of the floor.
He looks like a happy troll from an animated film. But he's good.
Would you Terrence Mann and JRE, or Oubre and Metu?
Weird positionality there. Like, if I had no Bledsoe or best friend or Jackson, then I'm gonna run the Mann lineup because it's they're potentially in a blowout, and I need some exposure to those Clippers against the tired Kings and all that. But otherwise, I think I'd lean on the other side.
I agree. SGA and Eric Gordon or Lowry and Dort. Eric Gordon, somebody we didn't talk too much about. Just in the context of this slate, became less of a priority for me.
Yeah, a lot of value opened up. So there was
Yeah.
a whole lot of secondary what's going to happen on. I mean, that would be the one I would still go to in tournaments because I do think the possibility of hitting some sort of upside is better than the various other Daniel House also rans on Houston. But if you move past KPJ and Christian Wood, Gordon's still, I want to say 51 on DK.
Who is that?
Eric Gordon. Oh, still 51.
I think 51 is correct.
Yeah. So
yep, 51. 1.7.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I don't have a great sense of the whole. Like they're just going to run their minutes all the hell over the place because they're gonna run out Armani Brooks and KJ Martin and Alperen Sengun and Daniel House and Garrison Matthews and Tate. Obviously, will get real time and what's his name? Josh Christopher is going to get 8 minutes and so it's a bit of a mess. So I think for me it's Wood, KPJ, Tate, Matthews, and Gordon all come in very similarly for me. FanDuel is Tate, DK it's Gordon. Either one Matthews is fine. No great take there. But what was the 2-on-2?
It was SGA and EG or Lowry and Dort, and I think I would lean to that second side.
I mean, if that would make your only exposure from the Houston OKC game Dort, I would probably go to the first side to get the extra piece of that game because I
assume he didn't have Harrow in the Lowry side.
Right. Exactly. So it would depend on correlations, but those are just fine. I don't strongly dislike anyone there. Gordon is a fine GPP guy to get at 1%, 2%.
There's Tyreek. Woke up from his nap, I assume, right before lock.
Perfect.
As he tends to do. You like Miles Bridges or Bobby Portis more in this Milwaukee-Charlotte game? You've seen the Bobby Portis picture, right?
Like President of the United States?
Him at the White House standing at the lectern.
Yeah.
Bobby
Portis or Miles Bridges. Ignoring positionality, ownership on neither one will be incredibly relevant. Definitely Portis if they start Nick Richards.
Yeah.
Portis either way for me, actually. Assuming positionality doesn't matter whatsoever, which it apparently doesn't by the form of the question. I would go Portis either way there. The Milwaukee interior defense, especially carrying Portis's ass, has been really, really solid. I don't think I want to try that on that team. I think I think your best guy on that team is probably Rozier versus his price. It's site dependent, then Ball, then Hayward, then Bridges. I don't think I'm going to do it there.
This is what I've been waiting for is some off topic things to be brought up.
Sure.
We'll answer Hugo's question here first. Who has changed his name again, Eddie? Once again, the reference going over my head, but now McLean's Christmas machine gun.
That's going over your head?
It is.
That's going over your head.
Yeah.
Ho. Now I have a machine gun. It's fucking Die Hard.
Yeah, I've seen it once. Don't. Oh man.
Okay.
I just hope I don't get fired.
John McClane is Jesus. John McClane is real crisis of confidence in you right now. John McClane is Bruce Willis's character in Die Hard. So he gets a machine gun and shoots some people with it and steps on a lot of glass. Watch all the. I'm not going to make him watch all the Die Hards. 1, fine. 2, fine. Samuel L., no problem. Little Jeremy Irons, I enjoy a good riddle. That's fine. After that, there's no reason to abuse the kid. Jesus Christ.
Celtics, no surprises. Smart. Jaylen Brown, whose minutes limit is now 32.
I heard.
Hadn't been getting above 30 until now. In his return from the hamstring injury, Tatum, Al Horford, and the Time Lord.
Yeah, as expected. Tyrese Maxey is dressed up as fucking. He looks like Rorschach from The Watchmen in that picture. But.
Before we got to rightfully shaming me on the stream, Hugo was asking, is there a team or two we'd be willing to go with 3 guys? And if so, who? For me, it's the Clippers. If I had more than 3, I would feel pretty uneasy today, but I think that is by far my favorite team to get 3 players from if I was to do so.
If I had 2 players, I would take 3 players. All right, teams I would take 3 players from in rough order of preference. The Clippers and Miami, because you have Deadman in there. So there's enough ways to do it with Miami. Like there's only like 4 players you want to take, but any 3 of them doesn't totally nauseate me. Clippers, Miami. OKC. You can do Roby Man SGA is not terribly disturbing. And that may be it. Don't really want to Houston. The guys you would get are too expensive. I think that would be the teams that I would be comfortable tripling on. You can make some weird thoughts about Indiana, but I think that's it.
TLC Moon game here. 3 points, a board, and an assist in 5 minutes.
Mother of God. That's better than a fantasy point a minute. That's better.
Hugo telling me, just see Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance. So I will rewatch Die Hard in my infinite shame here on FTN After Dark now. And Die Hard with a Vengeance, I'll get it in.
That's pretty good. Do you want to do one more bet on Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot DraftKings points per minute or something?
No, I think I'm good on the TLC props, but we can find another one. I think it's good to have 3 per stream, so we have a nightly winner, and you can get some movement if you sweep.
That's nice. I like it. Let's do it.
So we'll find something here.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, so the other question that Charge Up posted in the chat.
Yes.
Should the Kings trade De'Aaron Fox for Ben Simmons? And is he crazy for thinking that they should?
It's not crazy. Like, I don't dismiss it out of hand. I don't find that to be unreasonable. I value Ben Simmons more than most people, clearly.
Sure.
I think that's a lot of old man shouting at cloud and me being very, defense matters, like whatever the hell. But he can't play point guard. But the Kings can get around that, and Fox's injury history and you're not winning anytime soon, so age is comparable. I don't think it's insane. I don't think Sacramento does it, but I don't hate it. Like, they're already a pretty messy offense, so meh. Yeah, I'm very meh on that there. But that's the kind of question I like. No, I don't think you're crazy to do that. Like, I think Ben Simmons, and again, I'm a big fan of the whole allegory, which is, all right, you're a baseball coach and you see 2 players run to first base, and one of them has absolutely perfect form, great kinematics, no wasted movement, incredible energy, and the other one runs like me. Think like the big Jack Muppet from the Muppets, like, I want to go to Hollywood, and like arms and shit flying up, and they get to first base in the same time. Which one do you take to coach? You take the big goofy ass Muppet one, because if you teach him even halfway decent form, he's much better than the other guy who's already maxed out his potential. So how much better can you make De'Aaron Fox? And if you think you can make Ben Simmons better or use him better, yeah. Like, I'll like it is, barring him becoming an absolutely elite fucking offensive weapon, I got a lot more spots for Ben Simmons on my championship team than I do De'Aaron Fox. Like, De'Aaron Fox, little, and there's some real defensive issues there. So Ben Simmons should just convert to full-time center. Yeah, he's really halfway decent small. Like, the funny thing is, what I want centers to do that he doesn't do? Be able to go out to the 3-point line and shoot. Heart out, all aboard the herb train. Yeah, he could still be fine as a slashing wing. Like, he's no matter what he's gonna do, bro got to learn to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot be, that guy.
Tyreek chiming in saying Maxey, Seth, and Fox the smallest backcourt ever. Good point.
Yeah. And that's not actually good. Like
Right.
you can get away from it doing various things, but like I have a real question, like you and I got to talk about someday. Is Jokic a good defender?
I don't think he's a below average defender, but he doesn't stick out to me as an above average defender, if that makes sense.
Because I mean, defender is a very broad term.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of writing people are like, they've got this tough matchup with Jokic, and it really depends who it is. Like there's a lot of shit basketball and DFS and whatever the fuck coverage, sports bets, you name it. But there's a lot of this center has a bad matchup because Jokic, and I'm always like, like he protects the rim, okay. The team does play better defense when he's out there. Now that has something to do with the capability of the various backups and other guys on the team. So it's hard to extract those numbers, but it's I was thinking about it frequently, the allegory, and we're thinking about Ben Simmons, and I was like, it is really hard to win a title with a point guard who doesn't make your offense better or a center who doesn't make your defense better.
True.
And I think Jokic is probably a slightly better than average overall defender now. And that might be good enough because he's, one of the best offensive centers in the history of the game.
So how do you explain the Jazz then? They have both of those things, and I still don't think they can win a championship.
They have both of those things. Do they have both of those things?
I think Mike Conley makes their offense better.
Well, yeah, but there's also a question of degree.
Sure.
Like, I don't think the reason they can't win is Gobert. Like, Gobert can't shoot, and that constricts your offense in a lot of ways. But again, that's less important than, and the Jazz have been really good as long as they've had Gobert. And I think Mike Conley is, I don't know if Mike Conley is an average offensive point guard. I'm not sure he is. He could be below.
So below that threshold by now.
Yeah, like I don't, so I'm not sure that works. And that's, the difference between that team winning a title and not is if you turn, Mike Conley into even like Damian Lillard. Like we don't have to Steph Curry this shit. And I think, remember that like really hot 6 months where people are like, Lillard's better than Curry?
Yeah.
Remember that? Like recency
bias
bias in basketball is fucking hilarious. People are just like, well, Lillard had a couple good playoff series. And I like Damian Lillard. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a very solid rapper.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff about Damian Lillard. But yeah, the disrespect for fucking Steph once in a while is crazy.
Garrett Temple will get the start for Josh Hart. So Graham, Temple, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, and Jay Val in the middle for the Pelicans against the Mavs at 8.
All right. I'm reprojecting these guys. I still think I prefer Chimezie Met to Graham, to Herbie, because people are asking me, but
that's not super close to me.
I mean, they're a similar price.
Yeah. I think Hart being out helps Herb a lot more than Garrett Temple getting into the starting lineup. Who is 800 cheaper, I think. He's min-price, shooting guard only, Garrett Temple.
Yeah. When they randomly give him the start, dude gets some very real time. That's not the first time he started this year either. It's the third, I want to say. I just got a message saying Herbie is not starting, so I'm a little confused. I thought he was.
I have him starting. I don't know where else they would go. I mean, you could slide Alexander Walker back in.
I'm looking at the lineup. It's Graham, Temple, Jones, Ingram, Herbie.
Yeah.
Graham, Temple, Jones, Ingram, J-Val.
Yeah, Devontae Graham.
I'm watching news and responding to messages and doing other things.
Devontae Graham, 4.6K on DraftKings. Super cheap. And what is that? I mean, as Doug just said, that team needs Zion badly. I was literally about to say, like, what do the Pelicans do? They are horrendous.
They're bad. There's some bad fucking teams out there this year. Like the Rockets and the Pistons and the Pellies and there's Thunder not making anybody proud right now. There's some balls teams out there. When you're the Kings and you're like, wow, they're like 5 teams strictly worse than us.
I do appreciate the Rockets going on a 3-game win streak, though.
I know they went from literally 1-16 to 4-16 or something.
Yeah.
Putting it out there.
Spurs 2-game win streak. Don't like that as much.
Yeah.
Really missed our chance to get on the Rockets level there.
Get on the tank. Texas basketball.
So good. Hopefully we stay off the floor that is Texas professional soccer. Bottom 3 teams in the Western Conference this year.
Denver up 15-6. Jokic with 2 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds. And
he has points now. He started out the first 3-4 minutes. He had 3 boards, 3 assists, no shots.
Yeah. Let's see how our bud Cole Anthony is doing. I talked somebody off of him.
1 for 4.
6 minutes, 2 points, and assist and a rebound. Okay, we're feeling good about that. Gary Harris won't be drawn back into your trap. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 point. Okay. It's like 7 fantasy points without having made a shot. He has made a free throw.
Karl Anthony Towns in the T-Wolves Wizards game, 0 for 6 in his 8 minutes. But still 3 points, 2 boards, assist, steal, and a block. So doing fine in his 8 minutes, but could be doing really good.
Yeah,
if he would hit a couple shots.
I couldn't get to anyone on the Wizards. Like so much half-court defense and shitty transition in this game.
I was a little nervous about Gafford picking up fouls on Cat. Escaped his first run with just 1. 4 points, 5 boards, 2 blocks as well for Dan Gafford, who fantasy-wise has turned it on over the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he's always been good, but really has started to. Like, people are always a little reluctant and reticent to fire that bullet because you're always worried that Harrell is going to just get up in his shit. But
KCP 9 shots in his 8 minutes. 2 for 9.
Well, when you can give KCP 9 shots, you just have to do it. The rest of the team probably has 12 shots. But
let's see. 2v2 here, Graham and Portis or Drew and Marcus Morris. I lean the second one.
I do too.
Delo's asking what you have Garrett Temple projected for now for the Pels.
Yeah, it's gonna be more than the 12 minutes I had him for last time I looked. And there, change that about and re-enter that in there. Porter doing well. Good. Gonna beat up on best friend, extend my lead there a little bit. That's key.
I think somebody's gonna beat up on best friend. Excuse me, he does the beating up, sir.
I don't know what you're talking about. He's just clumsy. He's never hurt someone on purpose in his life. Don't be ridiculous. Having a little fun with best friend. I have Temple for 19 minutes. I'm not playing Garrett Temple.
Ooh, 5 for 5, Red Velvet.
They started him once, and he still didn't do fuck all, as memory serves. Like, he started a game or 2 games this year, and I still don't think he played 20 minutes. So you're just asking for trouble, and it's still Garrett Temple. I guess he's the absolute minimum, but I'd rather play every other player on the Pellies. I would still not crack my top 5 guys. I will reproject it and rank my Pelicans in order of preference and let you know when I hit Garrett Temple. Here we go. Just raw projection, standard distribution versus salary. New Orleans Pelicans. You get, in order, Herbie, Ingram, Graham, Valenciunis, Walker, Temple. Sneaks in there just over Sweet Dick Willie and Kira Lewis and Najee Marshall and Tomas Satoransky.
The Hornets will indeed slot P.J. Washington back in at the 5, alongside Ball, Rozier, Hayward, and Miles Bridges.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Can you Metu and Holmes together? I think you can. I would prioritize Metu. Price considered, obviously.
Yeah. I almost don't care. Metu is going to be 50% owned and costs $3,800 and almost isn't terribly relevant for me in considering Rashawn Holmes. But yes, you can.
Jokic now up to 6, 8, and 3 in his 9 minutes. Tyreek asking our thoughts on Ty Jerome on DK as a direct pivot from Trey Mann in the large field tournaments.
Yeah, there's obviously you're getting the the advantage there, but again, it's just that there's that and the Paul Watson and
did you say Raptors? Okay.
What did you think I said?
I thought you said who's the guy in rap, like thinking of Paul Wall, and that's how you were remembering.
Oh, you thought I had a mnemonic where that's that's very cute, but no. That's very amusing. No, the guy from the Raptors I was going for with my thought process there. Yeah. But there's all that and Teo Mal. Like, no, they gave the other guy 30 minutes the last guy. Like, if you asked me to guess their minutes right now, I would say Trey Mann 28 on average and Ty Jerome 13. Like, I just don't think I can recommend it. Like, can you do it? Sure. I don't think it's a dead play, and you're obviously going to get great leverage on the 34% of the field that has Trey Mann out there swinging. But.
Yeah. Rockets will start the same 5, KPJ, Eric Gordon, Garrison Matthews, Jayshawn Tate, and Christian Wood.
Canceling a late meeting. I'm a hardworking man. I don't know if you know that, Zach.
So I've been told.
Hardworking man. Just saying. Problem with they're still talking about Ben Simmons. Who are we prioritizing, if anyone, with hard out? I don't think anyone is a priority on a large slate. I think Herbie is an absolutely fine play. I think he ends up being owned in the teens as opposed to Timothy Metu in 40-ish. Now Timothy Metu is going to project for high 20s in anyone's projection system, and Herbie's going to project for 20 or 19 or 21 or something if you math it out, depending if you give him 30 minutes or 33 or whatever the hell. But the ownership disparity will be really significant. You'll actually have single-digit Herbie. So, but Hart being out, moderately good news for Jonas Valenciunis if you wanted to play J-Val. Again, I would have generally rathered Christian Wood, but Valenciunis, Hart is an exceptionally good rebounder for a guard. Probably raises J-Val's rebounding expectation by 0.35 or something. But not as enormously consequential as you would think. I mean, it's just a few extra minutes for a lot of those guys, but the inability to project to whom those minutes will go makes it a little bit tricky. So no, I don't think that is an incredibly actionable piece of news. Herbie, if anyone. Like Herbie now goes for 5 extra minutes and 3 extra fantasy points, and that feels pretty good.
Mavs getting back to, I won't say back to normal here. Luka Doncic, Reggie Bullock getting the start, Dorian Finney-Smith, Tingus Pingus, and then Dwight Powell back in there after the 11 glorious minutes of Moses Brown we got last game.
Big Mo.
Some interesting developments as well with the Pacers rotation here in the first quarter. Jeremy Lamb, 4 minutes. Keelan Martin, no minutes.
Lamb. All right. Again, another broad rotation. Fading Jokic was not smart, someone says. Well, we'll see. Like, if Jokic gets 60, I would have no concern because.
And they're up 11 already. They could blow this team out.
I missed you, Eddie. Your energy and witty lines are unmatched. That's very kind. It helps when you cook with the right food. It also helps when you surround yourself with fantasy sport dorks who can't have a human conversation with anyone. It really makes you look much more charming and witty and energetic than you actually are. So I highly recommend it. If I had to give you career advice, I would say one of the most important things you can do is surround yourself with people with very poor social skills. Makes you look great. Do we have energy? I want to see how I did on my ownerships on the second side.
Oh yeah, let's pull it up.
I'm curious how I landed on Hero Lowry, and I guess that's the only one. I'm just kind of curious how we landed on Hero Lowry. If we think I'm gonna go again with roughly the same guesses. Let's go with Hero 41 and Lowry 18. Those would be my guesses on the minimum.
All right.
And I think at that point, I definitely prefer Kyle Lowry. Now, again, he's a point guard, and point guard only, I presume, which is a real issue because you're in a world with Reggie Jackson and like guard spots are very valuable, and Hero basically can fit in any lineup, whereas there's some restriction with Lowry. That's a really relevant point. But
Tyler Hero, 30%, 30 and a half.
30 and a half. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably going to make it a moot point.
Lowry 14.
14 even. Okay.
Yeah.
So my ratio was about right. But slightly more than 2-1, but lower owns than I thought on both of them.
Dwayne Deadman, of course, number one.
48.
41.
Okay. Everyone a little lower than I thought there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't NAW get a bump with him out? Yes, NAW. Everyone on the team will get a slight usage, slight minutes bump there. So, for example, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think I had projected at 24 and a half minutes, and now I would have it 26 or 26 and a half minutes or something like that. Like they all get a relevant bump, but a very unpredictable and difficult one to get in there. All right.
We also got, not a ton of ownership in those two games, I believe, is what locked at 7:30. Lauri Markkanen, the next highest owned there at 5%, followed closely by 4.9% PJ Tucker. We love that.
Honestly, that's not bad. Like, he's gonna have to play a few extra minutes, could randomly get center time if things go squirrely. He doesn't cost 3,000, it's 36 or 38 or 39. He doesn't cost $4,000, but high threes. He's gonna play 32 minutes. It's just you need him to get like 30. That's just not going to happen, kids. Like,
I'm going to still say it's bad. That's too much.
But it's 4%. Like, the days I'm talking about were literally like Harden and Westbrook are out. PJ Tucker, 44%. I'm just like, the fuck are you people doing? Like, I'm just screaming at my computer. Like, I'm screaming like, thank you. But for years, years of that. And I was just like, you can, like, it always bothered me because you can either, if you do anything to prepare for your show in either knowing anything about basketball or advanced statistical analysis, you wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. But all the coverage was so shitty for so many years that literally people just went, oh, these guys are out. This usage opens up. We'll just give it to all these other guys. And so, like, if you actually watched basketball, you would know that's not how that works. And if you actually, like, looked at any next level stat, like, for years, it was like PJ Tucker takes, 3.4 three-pointers a game. You take Westbrook and Harden off the court, they go down to like 2.7 and 2.6. And if they're both off the court, it's like 2.4. He shoots a lot less. He's open a lot less. He makes a fewer percentage of the shots. Like, he's just a worse fucking player. So you could either like watch the basketball or look at any stat beyond the very superficial ones and you'd see it. But still, for years, like, Oregon, I would just be like, don't be that guy again.
Couple interesting numbers, low ownership numbers here. The field could not decide whether to roster Evan Mobley or Jarrett Allen, both 4.35%.
There was Jarrett Allen there, I think, but I do enjoy me some.
I agree. Duncan Robinson 4%, but then Joel Embiid 3 flat. Very good number.
Like, I thought he was going to be 6 or something. Again, I didn't. One of the other things that the lack of time gets with me is I don't have time to like actually project out in total things. So frequently, like, one of the reasons I'm over on everyone is I don't have the best intrinsic sense of the size of the slate. And so all the numbers in my head wouldn't add up to 800%. They'd add up to 908%. And so I end up with, like, my proportions are right, but the actual numbers are way the hell off. So when I'm like, Embiid will be 6%, 3 is not that surprising.
No surprises for the Bucks. Holiday, Grayson Allen, Middleton, Giannis, and Bobby Portis. Getting some Grizzlies news for tomorrow as well. Another team that's been shorthanded. Last number I want to read off here, 1.9% Jason Tatum. Also feels pretty nice. Didn't have to play a ton to get over the field in a big way.
Yeah, no, that feels pretty good. Oh my God, I can't believe we're talking about. Sorry, I just said that feels pretty good, and I realized we're talking about Herbie Jones, and I haven't been. I don't have a drink here. All right, I'm gonna do it without warming up. But
okay.
This sucks because I need a second. I should have prepped this, but here we go. Okay, here we go. You boys like popsicles? And you better come on down to the cellar because I got a whole freezer full of popsicles. Get your fat ass back here. Like there's a whole I got to do that more whenever he's in play. Like I was.
I agree. But you're definitely not out of practice. Well, you may feel out of practice, but on point.
Thank you. I try.
Excuse me. I'm looking for a used car that's been tricked out to look like an ice cream truck. Da 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 da.
There you go. Clip that one. We'll put it along with the other one. Get that in there. Can't get that kind of high quality entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's it. Oh, that's a good note to end on. There we go. Last one from me. Portis and what Trey Mann, Tristan Kardashian Thompson. Sorry. Embiid's getting in there. Portis, Terrence Mann, and KPJ or Giannis, Trey Mann. There's men on both sides. And Tristan Kardashian Thompson. I don't think I had Tristan.
Yeah, I'm going with the first side because I think Tristan Thompson could DNP tonight again.
I think I have him at 8 minutes or something, but like Rashawn Holmes is healthy, so you're dealing with Rashawn and Alex Len.
He DNP'd last night with the same guys out, I believe.
Okay, there you go. All right.
So there you go, Tyreek.
That was fun. That was incredible. I'm good. I got to throw an impression in at the end. That's always fun. What's the schedule like for the rest of the week? I gotta find a day to crash.
I agree. I've been awaiting the surprise Eddie Pokemon graphic to pop up again. It's been too long.
Yeah, Saturday is not bad. Thursday is not bad.
Yeah.
Sunday's a 4-gamer. Oh, yeah. All right. Are you on Sunday?
I am. You want to hop on Sunday?
I may have to prioritize. I mean, it won't be much of a surprise, but at the point. But I
well,
think
only the people tuned in now. 43
there's like
minutes
3
after
people left. It's 7:43. There's like 9 people watching that.
That's an early one too, isn't it? On Sunday.
Yeah, 3:30, 6, and 7 Eastern are the 4 games. So
yeah.
We can get like 9 people for the show. I'm going to do the best show ever.
Yeah.
For like 8 people on an NFL Sunday. It was great.
Was it 2:30 Eastern start for
trivia?
That one?
We should do it. I need to give away like some Superdraft shit, some swag, some tickets, some.
Yeah. Maybe we plan a lengthy after dark next week to do some of that stuff, do some trivia, ticket giveaways, other shenanigans.
Yeah.
I will tell you that Sunday, I guess I could go to, 4:30 Eastern on Sunday if we wanted to stay on and futz around. But Steelers Ravens, even if the Steelers are over, I'm watching that game. That's a 4:30 Eastern.
It's a legend. They get muddy down there. We don't want that super draft stuff. No, that's not nice. That's fair.
No, Anthony only says that because he's in
one of those states. I'm fucking trying. Zach was in a meeting with me today, and I was like, "So, any news on that thing that I've been told is a month away for 8 months?"
Mm-hmm.
I know just how you feel. So, you think the show will be like a 2 p.m. show?
Yeah, I would think 2:30 Eastern.
Do they tend to do that? Like, haven't they been?
We've been going early on Sundays because the Superdraft, DraftKings, FanDuel have been a little disjointed in terms of not starting their Sunday slates at the same time. So what I've been doing Sundays in the last 2 Sundays, I believe I've been solo, which has been it's been fun though, just to get out there, talk the games, and have that up there for the rest of the afternoon for anybody that wants to watch it 2x speed or anything like that, and get the game by game, and then hang out in the Discord the rest of the day. So we'll coordinate on that, and maybe I know Tyreek's in here, Anthony's in here, Easy B, Biggs.
That's fine. They want no one there. If we're gonna do like trivia and shit, they're like, yeah, nobody fucking show. We got 8 people and give away $500 in prizes.
I could start solo just so we can use the Pokemon graphic.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea. All right, let's get out of here. You and I have to start flexing our fingers, and you have to tell me how the hell I can buy tickets, buy moments faster.
Oh yeah. We'll chat after the show. But Eddie, before we go, I just have to. I know we have some people that have followed you from maybe some previous sites or haven't resubbed yet to FTN from last year. Shame on those people for not signing up. But if you haven't signed up, it's not just because they pay me to say this. I really do think that we have a great community here at FTN, especially in the NBA channel. But I'll sell you the package anyways, and you can come find out for yourself with all my, love for all these beautiful people in the chat. That NBA package, though, comes with a state-of-the-art optimizer. If you were already a subscriber, you would have seen Kyle Murray, the opto extraordinaire, and Tenacious D Jones, the showdown champion, in my opinion, breaking down the slate. But that optimizer, the ownership projections every single day from Kyle Murray, and Alex Blickel. Our NBA on-off splits, Eddie, the advanced DPP tool, one of my favorites to use when I was still playing. The infamous FTN Daily NBA Premium Discord channel that I referenced, where we answer all the subscribers' questions for the hour plus that Eddie and I are here together each Wednesday. And then, of course, the rankings that you and I, the two beautiful faces on the screen, or I'll say one beautiful face and another jabroni here. We collab on those rankings every single day. And the pricing here at FTN starts at $49.99 per month. But you can use that code scrolling right beneath us, FTNTV. That's good for 15% off that package every single month. To repeat, that code is FTNTV, and it equals 15% off every month of your subscription. And when you do sign up, join the Discord, tag Eddie and myself. Let us know you're here because we would love to have you. And I know, Eddie, I've seen a couple new faces, new names popping up in the chat. So I love to see that over the last couple days.
Yeah. We're still got people coming in. It's very nice. It is a great community, by the way.
I agree. So with the shilling out of the way, I guess we will get out of the way.
That was some excellent shilling, by the way. Say what you will about my various other skills. I suck at shilling. I'm sorry. Deadman going off, by the way. 4 points, 4 rebounds, and yeah.
Former Spur, Dwayne Deadman. And with that, we will say goodbye. Pay attention if you're a Top Shot collector to those end of the half field goals. Those got to be coming up, the first couple here, probably in a few minutes. So for Fast Eddie Fear, I'm Zach Graham. Shout out Thomas, our producer extraordinaire, behind the glass. As always,
let's get these beans.
Good night.